Some aircraft manufacturers left a lasting mark on aviation. Others, while just as innovative, quietly disappeared into the footnotes of history. Today, we're spotlighting 7 of the rarest plane makers that once helped shape America's skies, only to fade into the past. These aren't just names, they're stories of invention, war, risk, and legacy. Let's dive in. Starting our countdown at number 7, we have the Curtiss Aeroplane and Motor Company.
Number 7. Curtiss Aeroplane and Motor Company.
Founded by aviation pioneer Glenn Curtiss in 1909, this company was once a titan of early American aviation, rivaling even the Wright brothers in innovation and influence. Curtiss didn't just build planes, he built the foundation of what would become the modern aviation industry. The company's most famous creation was the Curtiss JN-4 Jenny, which became America's first mass-produced aircraft. Over 6,000 Jennies rolled off the production lines during World War I, serving as trainers for countless pilots who would go on to shape aviation history. The Jenny wasn't just a plane, it was a symbol of American aviation coming of age. Beyond the Jenny, Curtiss produced the legendary P-40 Warhawk, which fought valiantly in World War II, particularly with the Flying Tigers in China. What made Curtiss truly rare was their pioneering spirit in both aircraft design and manufacturing processes. They were among the first to implement assembly line production for aircraft, revolutionizing how planes were built. Their flying boats, like the NC-4, achieved historic firsts, including the first transatlantic flight in 1919, beating Charles Lindbergh by 8 years. The company's decline began in the post-World War II era when they merged with Wright Aeronautical Corporation in 1929 to form Curtiss-Wright Corporation. While the name survived, the focus shifted away from aircraft manufacturing toward components and systems. By the 1960s, Curtiss had essentially exited the aviation manufacturing business, becoming a shadow of its former self. Today, Curtiss Jenny aircraft are among the most sought-after vintage planes in the world, with restored examples commanding hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Aviation museums across the country display Curtiss aircraft as centerpieces, and their influence on early aviation training and manufacturing techniques continues to be studied by aviation historians worldwide. At number 6, we encounter the Consolidated Aircraft Corporation.
Number 6. Consolidated Aircraft Corporation.
A manufacturer that produced some of the most iconic aircraft of World War II before disappearing into corporate mergers. Founded in 1923 by Reuben Fleet in Buffalo, New York, Consolidated quickly established itself as a serious player in military aviation. The company's crown jewel was undoubtedly the B-24 Liberator, one of the most produced American warplanes in history. With over 18,000 units manufactured, the B-24 served on every front of World War II, from the European theater to the Pacific Islands. But Consolidated wasn't just about bombers. They also created the elegant PBY Catalina flying boat, which became synonymous with rescue operations and long-range maritime patrol. The Catalina's distinctive gull-wing design and exceptional range made it indispensable for the Allied war effort. What set Consolidated apart was their expertise in long-range aircraft design. They understood that future warfare would require planes capable of crossing oceans, and they built accordingly. Their aircraft featured innovative fuel systems, extended range capabilities, and robust construction that could withstand the rigors of long missions over hostile territory. The company's fade from prominence began in 1943 when they merged with Vultee Aircraft to form Consolidated Vultee Aircraft Corporation, later known as Convair. While Convair continued producing aircraft, including the famous B-36 Peacemaker and the F-102 Delta Dagger, the original Consolidated identity was lost. By 1953, Convair was absorbed into General Dynamics, marking the end of the Consolidated name in aviation. Today, surviving B-24 Liberators and PBY Catalinas are treasured by aviation enthusiasts and museums worldwide. Only a handful of airworthy examples remain, making appearances at air shows as living reminders of Consolidated's contribution to aviation history. The company's emphasis on long-range capability and rugged construction influenced aircraft design for decades after their disappearance. Taking the number 5 spot, we have the Stinson Aircraft Company.
Number 5. Stinson Aircraft Company.
A manufacturer that specialized in elegant civilian aircraft during aviation's golden age. Founded by Eddie Stinson in 1926, the company carved out a unique niche in the general aviation market by focusing on comfort, reliability, and style, qualities that were often overlooked in the utilitarian aircraft of the era. Stinson's flagship aircraft was the Reliant, a stunning high-wing monoplane that epitomized 1930s aviation elegance. With its distinctive gull-wing design and luxurious cabin appointments, the Reliant became the preferred choice for wealthy businessmen and aviation enthusiasts. The company also produced the Voyager, a sleek, low-wing aircraft that competed directly with Cessna and Piper models, and the Model A, one of the first truly successful 3-seat aircraft in America. What made Stinson rare was their commitment to building aircraft that were as beautiful as they were functional. While other manufacturers focused purely on performance or cost-cutting, Stinson invested heavily in aesthetic design and passenger comfort. Their aircraft featured plush interiors, panoramic windows, and smooth, flowing lines that made them instantly recognizable on any airfield. The company's downfall came during World War II, when they shifted production to military trainers and liaison aircraft. While their L-5 Sentinel served admirably in the war, the transition away from their civilian market specialty weakened their brand identity. After the war, Stinson struggled to compete with mass-produced aircraft from Cessna and Piper, who had perfected efficient manufacturing techniques during wartime production. In 1948, Stinson was acquired by Piper Aircraft Corporation, effectively ending the brand's independent existence. The final Stinson aircraft rolled off the production line in 1950. Marking the end of an era for elegant general aviation aircraft. Today, vintage Stinson aircraft are highly prized by collectors and vintage aviation enthusiasts. Restored Reliants regularly appear at air shows and vintage fly-ins, where their graceful lines and distinctive sound never fail to draw crowds. The company's legacy lives on in the emphasis on comfort and style that characterizes modern general aviation aircraft. At number 4, we spotlight the Grumman Aircraft Engineering Corporation.
Number 4. Grumman Aircraft Engineering Corporation.
A manufacturer that became synonymous with rugged, reliable naval aircraft before transitioning away from aviation entirely. Founded by Leroy Grumman in 1930, the company quickly established itself as the U.S. Navy's preferred supplier of carrier-based fighters and specialized aircraft. Grumman's most famous creation was the F-6F Hellcat, the fighter that helped turn the tide in the Pacific theater of World War II. With over 12,000 produced, the Hellcat achieved an incredible 19-to-1 kill ratio against Japanese aircraft, earning it legendary status among naval aviators. The company also produced the distinctive F-4F Wildcat, the TBF Avenger torpedo bomber, and later the F-14 Tomcat, which became an icon of Cold War naval aviation through its starring role in Top Gun. What made Grumman truly special was their reputation for building aircraft that could take enormous punishment and still bring their crews home safely. Naval aviators nicknamed Grumman planes Iron Works products because of their incredible durability and reliability. The company's engineers understood that carrier operations demanded aircraft that could withstand hard landings, salt spray, and combat damage while maintaining operational readiness. Grumman's transition away from aviation began in the 1970s when they diversified into space systems and other aerospace applications. While they continued building aircraft like the A-6 Intruder and E-2 Hawkeye, their focus shifted toward more profitable government contracts. In 1994, Grumman merged with Northrop Corporation to form Northrop Grumman, effectively ending the independent Grumman aircraft legacy. The company's final aircraft, the X-29 experimental fighter with its radical forward-swept wings, represented the end of an era for one of aviation's most respected names. Today, Grumman aircraft are beloved by military aviation enthusiasts and warbird collectors. Restored Hellcats and Wildcats command top dollar at auctions, while surviving F-14 Tomcats serve as museum centerpieces around the world.
Number 3. Republic Aviation Corporation.
Taking the number 3 position, we have Republic Aviation Corporation, a manufacturer that produced some of the most powerful and distinctive fighters in American aviation history. Founded in 1931 by Alexander Kartveli, Republic specialized in large, heavily armed fighters that prioritized firepower and survivability over agility. Republic's masterpiece was the P-47 Thunderbolt, affectionately known as the Jug by its pilots. This massive fighter bomber was one of the heaviest single-engine fighters ever built, weighing nearly 10,000 pounds when fully loaded. Despite its size, the P-47 proved devastatingly effective in both air-to-air combat and ground attack missions throughout World War II. The company also developed the F-84 Thunderjet and F-105 Thunderchief, continuing their tradition of building powerful, hard-hitting fighters well into the jet age. What set Republic apart was their philosophy of building fighters that could absorb tremendous damage and still complete their missions. The P-47's radial engine and robust construction allowed it to survive hits that would down lighter fighters, earning it a reputation as the ultimate survivor among World War II aircraft. Their jets continued this tradition, with the F-105 becoming the primary strike fighter during the early years of the Vietnam War. Republic's decline began in the 1960s when changing military requirements favored lighter, more agile fighters over their traditional heavy fighters. The company struggled to adapt to the new paradigm, and their final aircraft, the A-10 Thunderbolt II, was actually built by Fairchild Republic after Republic Aviation was acquired by Fairchild Industries in 1965. The original Republic Aviation Corporation officially ceased to exist in 1987 when Fairchild Republic was absorbed into other defense contractors. Today, surviving Republic aircraft are treasured by warbird enthusiasts and military aviation museums. P-47 Thunderbolts remain popular at air shows, where their distinctive sound and impressive size continue to wow audiences decades after their last combat mission. At number 2, we feature the original Northrop Corporation.
Number 2. Northrop Corporation.
A manufacturer that pushed the boundaries of aircraft design with radical flying wing concepts and innovative technologies. Founded by Jack Northrop in 1939, the company became synonymous with experimental aircraft and unconventional designs that were often decades ahead of their time. Northrop's most famous creations were the YB-35 and YB-49 flying wing bombers, radical aircraft that eliminated the traditional fuselage and tail structures in favor of a pure wing design. These aircraft represented a revolutionary approach to aviation that promised increased efficiency and reduced radar signature. The company also produced the P-61 Black Widow, America's first purpose-built night fighter, and the F-89 Scorpion, an early jet interceptor designed to defend against Soviet bombers. What made Northrop rare was their willingness to challenge conventional aircraft design principles. While other manufacturers refined existing concepts, Northrop consistently pushed into uncharted territory with designs that often seemed more like science fiction than practical aircraft. Their flying wings incorporated advanced aerodynamic theories and construction techniques that wouldn't become mainstream until decades later. The original Northrop Corporation's independent existence ended in 1994 when it merged with Grumman to form Northrop Grumman. While the company name survived, the original Northrop's focus on experimental and unconventional designs was largely absorbed into larger corporate priorities. The flying wing concept, abandoned in the 1950s due to stability issues, would eventually resurface in the B-2 Spirit bomber, vindication of Jack Northrop's original vision. Today, the few surviving Northrop aircraft are among the most sought-after pieces in aviation collections. The P-61 Black Widow is particularly rare, with only a handful of examples preserved in museums worldwide. Northrop's legacy lives on in modern stealth technology and flying wing designs, proving that their seemingly impractical concepts were simply ahead of their time. Taking the number 1 spot, we have Bell Aircraft Corporation.
Number 1. Bell Aircraft Corporation.
A manufacturer that achieved numerous aviation firsts before transitioning away from traditional aircraft manufacturing. Founded by Lawrence Bell in 1935, the company became famous for breaking barriers, literally and figuratively, in the pursuit of aviation advancement. Bell's most historic achievement was the X-1, the rocket-powered aircraft that first broke the sound barrier with Chuck Yeager at the controls on October 14, 1947. This single flight changed aviation forever, proving that supersonic flight was not only possible, but practical. The company also produced the P-39 Airacobra, unique among World War II fighters for its mid-mounted engine and tricycle landing gear, and the innovative X-5, the first aircraft with variable sweep wings. What made Bell truly exceptional was their role as pioneers in experimental aviation and rotorcraft development. While other manufacturers focused on conventional aircraft, Bell invested heavily in helicopter technology, becoming one of the first American companies to successfully mass-produce rotorcraft. Their Model 47 helicopter, with its distinctive bubble canopy and exposed framework, became the foundation of the civilian helicopter industry. Bell's transformation, rather than disappearance, makes them unique on our list. In the 1960s, the company made a strategic decision to focus exclusively on helicopters and tiltrotor aircraft, abandoning traditional fixed-wing aircraft production. This transition was so complete that Bell Aircraft Corporation evolved into Bell Helicopter Textron, becoming one of the world's leading helicopter manufacturers. Today, Bell's fixed-wing legacy is preserved in museums and private collections around the world. The X-1 resides in the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum, while restored P-39 Airacobras occasionally appear at air shows. Bell's influence on modern aviation is immeasurable. From breaking the sound barrier to pioneering helicopter technology, their innovations continue to shape how we fly today. From wartime workhorses to experimental dreamers, these manufacturers may be gone, but they haven't been forgotten. Each one left behind aircraft that still inspire historians, collectors, and pilots alike. Which one were you surprised to learn about? Let us know in the comments. And if you love aviation history, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more stories from the sky.